Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week for Supplier Diversity and Small Business Economic Report. This week, we will be discussing news that impacted the week of August 20th, so August 20th through August 24th. So, yep, thanks once again for joining, and let's get started. So, the first article that I wanted to discuss for this week is there is a new ranking from Kaufman titled Metropolitan Area Rankings. Essentially talks about the startup activity for entrepreneurs in various cities. So, just a really quick ranking. If you're interested, definitely check it out. I won't go too in depth with it, but I do think that it's pretty interesting knowledge. Just if you're curious about what are some of the top areas to start a business, just overall here. I've mentioned previously in a couple of my writings with suppliernews.com that it's really about kind of what you're looking for, what industry you're in, etc. When you're looking at where to start a business for you. But I do think that lists like this give an excellent opportunity to just get a really good basic understanding of where top areas to start a business just overall. In particular, when we're dealing with like online businesses that sell basic things such as I don't know clothes or reselling items through Amazon, etc. Uh, and as well as having areas with a lot of foot traffic and a lot of cheap places to rent a office. I think these are probably pretty good areas to start with. So first one is Miami, Fort Lauderdale piece, Austin, which is really good when it comes to small businesses. Definitely check that out. Los Angeles, I think is a little bit expensive, but as you can see, they're pretty top, as well as San Diego and Las Vegas. So the first thing that I'll note that starts off is we're looking at essentially southern and west coast areas. So anywhere with good weather, you're going to see a pretty decent amount of people when it comes to new entrepreneurs. Then you don't see anything on the east coast until around seven, which is New York area. And then let's see if we can find the first Midwest city. So Kansas City actually at 15 would probably Kansas City. I'm going to guess Missouri. Would be the first part of kind of a Midwestern city. So Midwest is kind of low on this piece, but there are a couple of big changes here. Most notably, so one and two kind of swapped. Austin was number one last year, then two, as you can see in this column here. But one of the bigger drops I note was kind of like San Francisco, going from 4 to 14. But again, this is a good quick list. If you're curious, definitely check it out. If you want to look for your own city, again, definitely come on, check it out, and see what's best for you. I think it's 40. Okay, so it's 39. I thought it was 40, but yep. So top 39 cities to start a business in America. Moving forward, uh, there is no economy anymore. Leave GDP for the statisticians. So basically, this article, what it's essentially talking about is it discusses kind of how there's two economies that's operating here, one for the rich, basically, and the one for everyone else. So essentially, what they're going to do here, and I think is very curious, and I mean not curious, but interesting. You should definitely keep your eye open. Is they're trying to do a research paper, just analyzing the two again what they call the two economies because as the GDP is increasing, in particular for America, it's doing great. It's doing wonders for wealthy individuals. However, how much of that growth is affecting essentially everyone else outside of that 5-10%. And what we're seeing is that it may not be affecting the 90%, 95% of Americans as much as we think it is. But they just kind of discuss how they're going to tackle that and how they're going to create. As you see, this piece will focus on GDP and some other pitfalls we encounter when interpreting its value as a gauge of economic strength. So definitely just wanted to touch upon that and something that we should probably all be looking out for from seeking alpha and kind of that route. Next up, Powell signals more hikes ahead if U.S. economy stays strong. So essentially, everybody thinks the economy is going to stay strong, and the Fed is now suggesting that they are going to step up their hike rates next month. So we're looking at a September rate hike, excuse me, coming up. Now, let me jump down here. Currently, the rate is at between 1.75% to 2%. So we're probably going to see that grow. our increase. The reason why it is because they said that inflation is around the 2% that they were looking for. Um, and since it's hitting there, they believe that now is the time to increase the rates uh, when it comes to that, uh, lending between banks. So, I've said it before and I'll say it again. But in particular, June and July months were the perfect times if you were looking to get a bank loan to do it. If you were unable to, that's unfortunate because now that these rates are going to increase, this may have some issues when it comes to your interest rates on different loans. So it's coming. Make sure you deal with it appropriately, and also make sure that you're accounting for it when it comes to your expenses because with that kind of increase, usually it affects the economy. And it in particular, it may potentially slow growth a little bit. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward. Irish Times. Now, one of the things I also want to talk about is the American economy is is doing exceptionally well. It's of the G7 countries. I believe it's the only one that is currently on pace to increase in terms of percentage versus last year. However, as you can see, German economy delivers balanced growth. Basically, just wanted to show you that again. This is, for the. I do believe that sometimes there's this misconception that America is doing exceptionally well and then everybody else is just floundering or doing okay, and that's just not the truth. The truth is, on a global scale, everybody's doing really well. Now, it seems to be slowing when it comes to other countries. Versus America. So definitely keep up for that. Look out for that because now we're seeing it continue like slow on a continuous basis, and it may affect America coming soon. But again, just kind of wanted to show you that again, this is a global kind of bull market that we're seeing, and everyone's doing really well here. As you can see, blue skies for now. Essentially just despite I know there's been a lot of negative news coming out of Germany when it comes to like their immigration policies, et cetera. But you know, despite everything that you're hearing, the economy is doing pretty well. And that goes for everybody on a global scale. So just wanted to take note on that. Like the global economy, it appears although it's still increasing at a pretty good rate, it is slowing down a little bit and that may affect America coming soon as well. Next up, student loans are starting to bite the economy. Now, this is a really good article. I think I read through it. It's a lot of good information. Um, just key points here: student loans are now the second largest category of household debt in America, topping 1.4 trillion. So here, just one thing that I found pretty interesting is 2018 graduates, or excuse me, while Corn Ferry puts the average starting salary for 2018 graduates at 50,000, up 2.8% from 2017. When I graduated, it was definitely not that high. I graduated during the recession, so there you go. But so it's really good to see that salaries have increased and that people are finding jobs because I was there when it wasn't like this, and it honestly it wasn't fun. But so it's really good that we're seeing this. There's some other notes here. See if I can find it. Here it is. As of fourth quarter, student loans represent 10.5% of a record 13.1 trillion. That's up from 3.3%. So student debt is climbing. It seems to continue to climb. There's also a note about how where is it? Something about how things have increased. I can't find it now, but this is gonna like bug me. Basically about how the prices when it comes to here it is. Sorry about that, guys. Over from 2007 to 2017, the CPI rose by 21%, but over the same period, college tuition costs jumped 63%, school housing surged 51%, and the price of textbooks by 88%. So we're seeing colleges increase, which means that debt's going to increase. So that's probably going to affect people's ability to start businesses and whatnot, which is unfortunate. So we'll see what happens when it comes to policies. But right now, definitely not good for small businesses, future small businesses and future startups when we're talking about younger people trying to start their business. And then last up, small business rural road show stops in southern Utah. Just really one quick point, if you're not aware, and this is for like rural companies taking a look at this video. Here it is. The roadshow was devised after SBA Administrator Linda McMahon issued a challenge to the agency earlier this year to increase SBA rural lending by 5%. So that is a goal by the SBA, the Small Business Administration, that they're trying to enact. We'll see if they can do it. I think that's pretty good. But their main focus is to get rural businesses on the same level as urban area small businesses. So if you're a rural business, this is excellent opportunity for you, particularly if you're in Utah. But definitely check out the SBA if you're a rural business because there seems to be more opportunities coming your way, and good for you. With that being said, this is a pretty short one, but thank you for checking this out. Rather, again, I'm not going to get into anything else outside of the economy. I understand that this was a big week for issues involving the Trump administration, but for this, we just look at the economy and businesses and kind of how that affects that. Uh, as that gets ironed out, that currently hasn't hit the economy in any way, shape, or form so far. We'll see if it does, but until it does, and there's a direct tie or link that's backed up by evidence that it is affecting it, I essentially won't report on it. But with that being said, this is kind of this week's Small Business and Supply Diversity Economic Report. As always, if you have any questions, definitely let us know. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and tell us what you think. With that being said, thank you and have a great day.